Sorry about that. I thought I might be mic 3 because of how I had the setup last time when we were streaming with Nicole, but I am just back to mic 1. And also, I don't know why this is like kind of weird too. Okay. Hey everybody, I'm doing good. How are you guys? I'm so excited to be streaming today. Also, Nora Yogurt, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but hey girl, so good to see you in here. Also, I just want to say, oh my goodness, Declan, thank you so much for 5 gifted subbies. Whoa, you didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. We got a hype train incoming. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Ace the 13th. I'm doing great now that you're here. Same to you and to all of you. Okay, so today I was thinking we could watch. It's not too like a super long documentary, but it's about Andrea Yates. I got a new job. Oh my God. Congrats, Declan. That's awesome. I just got 50 gifted subbies from Robert. And Robert, I just want to say thank you so much. Also, Ace the 13th, I see you, girly. Thank you so much for the gifted. That's amazing, Robert. Thank you so much. Keep it up. I don't know how to go about this. Hold on, I'm gonna call EB in here really fast. I have a quick question about this. Or maybe Sadboy, maybe I'll message you. You might be able to help me. I just don't want to distract from the stream. Or I could type in Discord to distract from the stream right now. Speechless, me too, Deanie Dabs. Me too. Robert, whoever you are, wherever you are, thank you so much for 50 gifted subbies. Because I remember a few streams ago you gifted me 100. So thank you. AB, can you come in here for a quick second? Oh, no, I'm one. Yeah, I'm one. Hey, improvisation, improv. Thank you so much for the subby. And again, Robert, I don't even know what to say. Like, honestly, I'm really speechless. Thank you so much for 50 gifted subs. That's crazy. Thank you. Crazy. Yeah. I work for Universal Cybersecurity. Okay. For the oh my, what? Wait, that is so cool. I don't know what that means, the blue pass, but oh my God, me and AB love Universal. We go there way too much. But love your stream. Thank you so much. That is so kind of you. And Death Krebs, oh my goodness, thank you so much, you guys. This stream barely started, and you guys are gifting all of these subbies. Thank you so much. Such a great way to start the stream. Notice that I hung out with Michelle the other day, and oh my God, yes, she told me about that actually. That is so cool. Such a small world. Yes, no, Robert. Thank you so much for, oh my goodness, was that 25? I don't even know what to say. I'm blushing. Thank you. He said, okay, let's enjoy the stream. Honestly, just thank you so much. Chaos said, Robert, oh my God, is your job hiring? Chaos wants to work for Universal Security now. Thank you so much. I don't even know what to say. I'm pretty sure like at least half the people in here right now, if not more, have been gifted a sub. So thank you guys so much. Shout out to Robert, Death Grips, all of you beautiful people. Declan, thank you guys so much for the gifted subs. Oh my God, yeah. So you know what? That's actually, I'm glad that was a fun like start to the stream, because what we're getting into, it's not for the faint-hearted. I don't know too much about Andrea Yates, but all I know is just very surface level stuff, that it's a very tragic case of postpartum depression. So yes, Chaos says this one's a wild ride. I feel like it's gonna be like a whole different set of emotions going into this than how this stream started. So it was nice to have like a fun, just like a fun opening like that. So thank you guys again for the gifted subbies. I'll be at the live. Oh my God, awesome, Robert. That is so cool. I know a few of you guys already are gonna be there, so it's gonna be fun seeing you guys in person. Hey, Hassan Azard, welcome. Oh my God, Sophie said I honestly know nothing about this one for once. It's a tough one, Sophie. But it's okay because we're all experiencing it together. So again, this is Andrea Yates. I'm going to put my headphones on for the sake of the audio. Okay. Oh my God, Nora, that would be cool. I'll definitely see you there. So excited.
You know, it takes me about 10 or 15 minutes to get to work. Was there a little less than an hour and got a call from my wife, and she said, you need to come home. And I said, well, what's wrong, Andrea? Does anyone hurt? And she said, yes. Children. All of them.
It sent shockwaves around the world, and the repercussions are certain to be felt for years to come.
When the children started talking about robes and candles, you could see that it had to be satanic.
We are continuing to examine evidence, following up on a substantial...
Wanted by the FBI as a criminal instead of a victim.
So yeah, the series is called The Crimes That Changed Us. So that's why in the intro you're seeing all these other cases.
What's your name? What's the problem? I just need him to come. Is your husband there? No. What's the problem? I need him to come. I need to know why we're coming, ma'am. Is he there standing next to you? She? Are you having a disturbance? Are you ill or what? Yes, I'm ill. You need an ambulance? No, I need a police officer. I've sent an ambulance.
It was early morning, 9, 10 o'clock. I just received a regular 911 call. Checked an unknown type situation. It was just a standard call. I never thought it would be a life-changing experience for me. And it haunts me now, to this day. I got there, and another unit's already on the other side of the street. Clear Lake, Texas, it's a suburb of Houston. It's a middle-class neighborhood. Like a few property crimes, domestic violence, things of that nature. As I entered the house, Andrea Yates was sitting on the couch, and I asked Officer Knapp, I said, what is it? What's going on? That's when he told me it's a homicide.
The call came from this house just before 10 a.m.
When I came in last night, the father was out with his 7-year-old, and they were shooting baskets. Looked like a normal family situation.
It was the suspect herself who called us and said that she required a police unit to go by her house.
My sister called me and said, hey, don't you have a friend named Andrea? I think your friend is on the news. I switched on the news, and I just got this sick feeling in the pit of my stomach.
She showed no emotion, no fear, nothing. I figured she killed her husband or boyfriend. And I walked down this long corridor, and I was expecting to see a body, a man's body.
Andrea and Rusty were just a beautiful couple. When they got married,
Rusty?
I remember being really delighted for her. Rusty's an engineer. He worked for a contractor for NASA. He was such a nice man. I was so happy for Andrea, and he seemed to be so very much in love with her.
Hey, Jeff,
And I walked into the room. There was no body there, but I saw a little head. And I thought it was a doll.
Andrea took mothering like she took everything else in her life. She was determined to be...
Sorry, guys. It's one of those stories.
excellent at being a mother. She was just the sweetest mom. She was wonderful with those kids.
I walked over to the little head, and as I got close to it, the closer I got, the more I realized, wow, this is a child. And I touched his forehead. It was ice cold. And I picked up the blanket where the child was. And more children started to materialize. And they were all lined up, all side by side. There were 4 of them in that bed. To this day.
It's so sad. But yeah, I got chills. I know, Fat Boy, when I first heard about this, because before today I really didn't know anything about Andrea Yates, but I just thought that is so crazy. And then that obviously she's mentally unwell, and like the fact that she called the police, right after doing this. Oh, my mic's a little bit quiet. I'll raise it. Thank you. Yeah, her 4 kids. It's so sad. She lined up the heads, just their bodies, but the way that the officer's like recalling the story and the details, he remembers just being surprised that the head was small because he was expecting to see an adult.
Today, my mind's eye can recreate the image that I saw. I put the blanket back on top of the children. I turned into the bathroom, and I found the oldest one face down in the tub. He was just floating. We were just in shock. We didn't know what to do.
Police found 5 young children dead in a home, and they say the mother has confessed to killing them, apparently drowning them in a bathtub.
All the children were wet. One was found in the bathtub, but the medical examiner's office is going to have to determine the cause of death. It could have been from some other means.
Something like this, where a parent has killed multiple children at once, is almost unheard of.
During all this time, Yates was sitting there. Her clothes were totally soaked. Looks like she just came out of the shower. She didn't say anything.
Hold on. Mojo said, is this actually Shutter Island? Is this what Shutter Island could be based off? I feel like it's very possible.
And then her husband showed up. Somehow or another, he breached the perimeter. And she just looked at the door, didn't say a word. She just sat there with this glazed look on her face.
5 children murdered in their own home, and the prime suspect is their mother.
Oh my God, that is so scary.
The Andrea that I knew would never have done anything like that. Something very wrong was going on. The Andrea that I knew would never hurt a flesh. She did not have a mean bone in her body.
What everyone wants to know is what could have
Kara
pushed
said,
Andrea.
yes, we definitely need to normalize talking about postpartum issues so people feel okay coming forward. Yeah, that's true. I saw some of you guys saying you don't like the husband either. And I feel like he will have like some involvement in just maybe not. Well, I mean, also, how do you know like how to deal with it if you don't seek help? But yeah, who knows if he would have acted differently, that this could have been prevented. I mean, also, if she's so unwell, I mean, there had to have been signs. Like, how could he let her do this? You'll see why he sucks. It's just so sad. Oh, also, you guys, do you want to see something cool? Look what AB got me. This is super cool. It's this. And what is this, you might ask? It is a piece of the Doyle house from the Halloween set. Michael Myers, the first movie with Jamie Lee Curtis. Doyle House original wood relic. Here's the authentication. He's so thoughtful. I know. I thought that was really cool too. Like, how did he even, But yeah, I definitely had a moment when I was opening it. I saw it. I'm like, I really lit up. I really did. But yeah, and I knew like in Hollywood, people do that a lot. Like, they take like pieces of sets of movies, and then like they kind of sell off, parts from sets of movies, and then they kind of like either sell the whole thing or sell it in pieces. Also, I heard about, gonna get that PSA graded. What does that mean? Because he couldn't take you to HorrorCon. No, that was both of our faults. We just kind of slept in. Yeah, it's a piece of the Michael Myers, of the house from that movie. Well, the set, at least. Yeah, and you guys know from the Sharon, this one is obviously a lot more disturbing that someone would want this. But from the Manson murders, when Sharon Tate got killed, and then you know how one of the family members, like, they wrote pig on the door in her blood, in Sharon Tate's blood. Anyways, the house has been demolished since then, but someone took the door before they demolished it, the one that says pig on it. So that's still out there somewhere. And it's just so demented that somebody would want that. Oh, how they grade like trading cards. Okay. I think this one, well, it's looking a little protective case like this. I wasn't going to take it out. I don't think I will. It's cool just to have like as a little decoration. Hey, you. I don't know. That's not usually. That's something that comes up. Maybe like 130, 140. No, like 135, I'd say. No, 130. AB with the gifts. Yeah, that was really cool of him. That one really shook me. Okay. Why would you want to be banned, Death Grips? Are you crazy?
Yates so completely over the edge that she's suspected of killing her own children.
I met Andrea when we were in 8th grade. She was in my English class. I was a misfit, and she was also a little bit of a misfit. She didn't ever care if she was popular, and that was something I always admired about her. And so we became friends. Her parents were wonderful parents. They raised 5 kids. They were fun to be around. But I do know that Andrea's parents expected a lot from her. They had a culture of excellence. We went to nursing school at UT in Houston. Andrea was the most diligent student you could ever meet.
Oh
we
my
did
God,
have
Nicole,
one year
hey!
that we didn't talk.
Hey, girly.
She was having some issues with depression. Andrea could be private with her emotions. If she
Sorry,
didn't
guys, I'm
want you
looking
to
at
know,
the Twitch manager on mobile because I haven't seen like the setup. Just the whole app right now. I hate the way like after it's been updated, the layout and everything. I feel like even for the people, the channels I follow, whenever they're live and I open the app, like I don't immediately see it, and I hate it.
oh, you would not know.
I have to like search their name and then go to their channel that way.
I was at home and got a call that this case would land in my division. All we knew was that a woman had killed her children. It was so unusual, 5 children all drowned by the mother. It's kind of surreal.
A community in crisis. Could their neighbor, Andrea Yates, really have drowned her 5 children?
Every time you turned on the news, there was an update about Andrea.
Locals struggle to come to terms with the tragedy.
I feel so sorry for the children and the father that's suffering right now with his loss.
A husband and father now left to pick up the pieces.
I found out that
Avery,
Andrea
that's
was
why
so
I'm not
rested,
watching
she
it
sent
right
me a
now.
little update.
The Lorena story, because I want to finish it with Nicole. So next time we stream together, we can watch that maybe. But yeah, or Avery said, when are we gonna finish it? Maybe I just like leave it off like Walking Dead for a while. Who knows? Gotta go make dinner. Just got home from an event and I'm car sick, so I gotta get off my phone. Oh, love you, girl. See you later. Enjoy your dinner. All 5 is crazy. It's so sad. And it's like, she obviously was mentally unwell because it's not like just like a heat of the moment type of thing where she got angry and then she did this to one kid because she did this to one kid and then she went on to the next and then the next and so on. And I feel like being able to go for that long and put that much effort, you know, with each kid, it was like obviously very intentional.
Date of her life.
And that just doesn't make sense.
She had a good job and she was a really wonderful nurse. She had met this nice young man who lived in her apartment complex.
Just getting started.
And his name was Rusty. Early the next year, I got an invitation to her wedding. She looked just beautiful. This lovely white dress. Her hair was pulled back. She was so happy. How could my dear friend, whom I loved like a sister, how could this have possibly happened?
Rusty's a fake name. It does sound good.
Our question for today is, should Andrea Yates face capital murder charges? Jonathan in Georgia says a mother that would knowingly drown her own children should be sentenced to death. So many actions are blamed on
I recall hearing it on the radio. That evening, I received a message on my answering service. I hesitated to call back for probably 30 minutes. I knew
Elijah said, no, my
in my
stepdad was a
gut that this
Rusty. Russell. See, so his name was actually Russell, but they called him Rusty.
case would have
So it wasn't
a
his real
marked
name.
impression on my professional and personal life.
I do remember Andrea called me when Noah was born. I went to see her. She's sitting there in the hospital looking so completely happy and satisfied. I didn't see that she had any more anxiety than any other first-time mother. She was full of joy. Andrea's idea that you have to be excellent at everything you do, and she probably put more pressure on herself than she needed to. She breastfed, she used the cloth diapers. Later the next year.
Cloth diapers? Oh my God, I can't imagine how annoying that must be.
She sent me the picture of her
I didn't
and
know that was a
Rusty
thing.
and Noah and John, so that's how I knew she had another baby.
Where's Noah? Where's Noah? Where'd Noah go?
She literally looks like two different people before and after. That's what I was thinking too, Sophie. Like that footage of her after she's being arrested and walked out of the house. And then the family photos prior to that, totally different people.
I do remember her telling me that on her wedding day that she and Rusty were going to have as many children as God gave them.
Also, just a little bit off topic, but hat-side cloth diapers are eco-friendly. Yeah, I'm sure they really, it makes a really big difference. When we were at we went to the LA County Fair a few weeks ago with my brother, and there was this whole section about like Smokey the Bear and being eco-friendly, being kind to the forests. And they had this board, and it showed like different objects and how long it takes to like decompose in the forest. So one of them was like a piece of gum, and it was like 1,000 years. It takes once you chew a piece of gum, it's gonna be out there for like 1,000 years. It doesn't go away. And then like there was like a bag of Sour Patch that was like 50 years or something. Anyways, and one of them also was a diaper. So that was one of the objects that has like a big impact on forests, apparently. And that one was like hundreds of years too. Okay, no official connection between Shutter Island in this case, but we're on to something. Yes, I agree.
What time was it that you got out of bed this morning? Okay. And who in your household was awake at that time?
My husband, Mary, and Lou, and Paul.
What strikes you the most is her recall of the sequence of events. Andrea Yates waited till after her husband had left the house. It seemed to me that her actions carrying out of the murders were planned.
After you drew the bathwater, what was your intent? What were you about to do?
Hi, Central.
And your children.
Now more on that tragedy in Houston. Police found 5 young children dead
This is coming to you live from Barbara Walters.
in a home, and they say
Okay,
the
he
mother
doesn't
has
sound like her.
confessed to killing them, apparently drowning them in a bathtub.
I went down to see Andrea. I'll never forget
Something
that.
in her eyes looks soulless. I think so too. That's what I was gonna say. But obviously, maybe she is. It's like a different person.
Meeting
not the
with
same
my new
Andrea.
client.
Hi,
Andrea
Hollow. Welcome.
was basically mute. I stood to leave, and she said, "Please don't leave me alone." I made up my mind at that moment in time that I would never leave her.
Got a call from my wife, and she said, "You need to come home." And I said, "What's wrong, Andrea? Is anyone hurt?" And she said, "Yes, the children." And she said, "All of them." My heart just sunk, you know.
When he left, he thought things were normal. His mother was coming to check in, so all of this was accomplished in the hour before.
Oh, come on. Wait, so it seems like his mom was supposed to be there because Andrea shouldn't have been left alone? Like, he shouldn't, if she was, like, at the case where they felt like he always needed to be there, or to the point where his mom would be there if he wasn't, then, my God, even an hour, they shouldn't have left her alone with them.
Or his mother was set to arrive. We went through the evidence, the steps that she took, running the bath water, talking to the children, taking them one at a time.
Oh my God, that's what I was thinking.
Putting the children in the bed when she was completed. Drowning is not an easy thing to do. It required considerable effort. There were signs of some struggle in the autopsy reports.
Oh my God.
There were bruises and indications that there was a fight. There were wet footprints to the door, so we know one of the children, Noah, was conscious enough of what was going on to attempt to escape.
What kind of things do you like to do, Noah?
Oh, I love radio.
Oh my God,
I love
no.
going to Radio Shack and I love playing with my electrical stuff and making new things every day.
The kid was trying to run away from his mother to live. And she eventually caught him and killed him. That's why she got soaking wet, because he was fighting in the tub.
Andrea Yates told police she methodically drowned her 5 kids in the bathtub, but that her oldest son Noah saw what was going on and was dragged into the bathroom to meet the same fate as his brothers and baby sister.
The time that this must have taken, it all seemed so methodical. This is not a person somehow becoming so angry at their children that they snapped.
When you start
Thank you, Tal, for the 70.
dwelling back on the humanity of it, is when it really starts to bother you. Realize that the preciousness of life. Sorry, I get choked up. But she did to those kids. They trusted their mother. The person they trust the most in the world. She killed them for no reason.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Noah. Happy birthday to you.
I couldn't sleep last night. I was like,
Is
is there anything I could have done?
Rusty is not really Rusty. Rusty is Russell. There you go. The same as your uncle.
I think Rusty was in a state of shock after this happened. I think he was under an extraordinary amount of stress. I think it took him some time to process.
my wife, I'm supportive of her. You know, it's hard because on one hand I know she killed our children, you know, but on the other I know that you know, the woman here is not the woman that killed my children.
I saw Mrs. Yates about 3 weeks after the killings.
That's true, Julie. And like my initial impression of all of this was very similar to yours, but then I realized, like, I think it goes deeper than that.
The
Than
primary
what we think.
purpose of my interview was whether she was legally insane.
What were you trying to accomplish then when you did take your children's lives?
Maybe in their innocent years, God would take them up.
Mrs. Yates had a belief that children were not accountable for their actions to God until they were 10 years old.
God would take them up to be in heaven, is that what you mean? All right.
When someone is deeply religious like that, I need to sort out to what extent these ideas are held by her co-religionists.
Whoa.
God is going to destroy this earth and all you wretched sinners.
Russell Yates had a mentor.
Kay said, okay, so she's nuts. Yeah, now I'm like, hold on. I thought it was like mostly just, you know, mental unwellness, but it seems like it could be that, just fueled by something crazy like this, or an extreme religion.
Mentorship with a preacher who had rigid beliefs surrounding family and fatherhood and the role of spirituality.
Cult-like spirituality.
The
yeah.
preacher that they
I guess
followed.
I shouldn't say an extreme religion, just a religious extremist.
Was Michael
It's not really fair to
Warnecki.
say that about any religion.
And Rusty told me that Warnecki was a soft-spoken preacher.
You don't need to listen to someone tell you, hey,
What is
Michael
it? What?
Warnecki. The preacher that they followed was Michael Warnecki. And Rusty told me that Warnecki was a soft-spoken preacher.
You don't need to listen to someone tell you hateful things.
Definitely getting cult vibes. Oh my God, Ace, you called it. You were so right.
Was a bit in shock because if you watch videos of him, he's gesturing wildly and he's in weird costumes and basically screaming, "You're going to hell."
We all go to hell, yes, to hell.
And if you had not taken their lives, where would they end up?
Hell. Andrea had innumerable tapes of Warnecki's preaching and listened to it all the time.
It says that the Word of God is more precious than gold or silver. Honestly, do you believe that? It's not until you
I
implement
had
that.
no idea that there was like this other dark force behind the scenes like this. I thought it just like Andrea, her husband, her kids. It doesn't really go beyond that. Not even like relatives or something. I didn't know that there's this huge dark driving force behind them.
To life in repentance,
This is
that
so
you will find the
sad.
favor of God.
The Yates family wanted to follow the Warnecki's teachings.
Almost there.
So they moved out of their first house that they owned together and moved into the trailer park.
Who is that, John?
At that point, Andrea was a stay-at-home mom.
I'll point to an orange and a pumpkin.
In 1997,
Aw, thank you,
Andrea
Appy
found
World.
out she was pregnant with baby number 3, Paul.
Wait, look at that. Sure.
How cute that she has like home videos for all the kids. I have like no home videos of me when I was a kid. It's so interesting that like kids these days, like my nieces and nephews, I always say, it's amazing that when they grow up, they're gonna have like all of this like endless footage of what they were like when they were kids. I wish I had that. I don't have home videos either. Our parents didn't care about us chaos.
Andrea started exchanging letters with
I'm just kidding, that's
Warnecki's
not true. My mom, for some reason, would just like, so we went to Lebanon every summer, and she would film like the mountains, the cities, and like not us, which I don't get. But I don't like want to bother her about that, and I don't want her to feel bad. But it really gets to me that she didn't.
And they're basically,
I know,
Andrea, you've got to be a better mother. You've got to be a better wife. You're a sinner. You're a Jezebel. You're going to hell.
Oh, I hope so, Allie.
Jesus does single out
That's true.
one
Back
group.
then, video cameras were expensive, but also like my parents had them, and they just chose not to film us.
Children.
Then what? No.
Whoever
so
causes
sad.
one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it is better for him that a heavy millstone be hung around his neck and he be drowned in the depth of the sea. I mean, Jesus, you're saying to kill yourself? Yeah.
Mrs. Yates was very concerned that she had been a bad mother.
Oh my God.
Just did a lot of silly stuff and didn't obey.
What the children were doing wrong turned out to be only very minor things.
When Rusty's mom would visit, they would not treat her well, call her names.
Nothing that would deserve being punished by killing them.
And it's better to tie a stone around your neck and throw yourself in the sea than cause the little one to stumble.
The Warneckis traveled all over the country, living in a bus. Rusty wanted to live the lifestyle that they did. So he bought the bus from them and moved into the bus.
Here you go. Thank you. Thank you for the kisses.
The kids slept in the luggage compartment.
In February of 1999, Luke was born.
On the way home.
Aw, thank you, Caitlin. I hope you feel better. Thank you for being here.
Here's our expedition. Luke, David.
And they're driving back to the trailer park. The park had put up a sign welcoming the new baby.
What does that say, boys? It says, congratulations, Rusty and Andrew, it's a boy. That's so cute.
It's just after this day, everything changed.
That's so cute. W-X-Y-N-Z. Now I know my ABCs. Won't you come and play with me?
And then Luke was born. That's when we started having some frightening thoughts. Do you remember what they were?
To the effect of carrying one of them.
Russell Yates arrived at his children's memorial service bearing an incomprehensible burden. A father forced to say goodbye to 5 children with the world watching.
It was a beautiful service.
There's nothing
and
sadder than
very,
little
very sad.
caskets.
Rusty gave the most beautiful eulogy for his children. It was just heart-wrenching.
7-year-old Noah was described as the independent firstborn. 5-year-old John had the contagious family smile. 3-year-old Paul was the perfect child. 2-year-old Luke was fearless, earning him the nickname Bulldozer. And about 6-month-old Mary, Yates said he was stunned that he'd finally been blessed with a girl.
Rusty held up a crocheted baby blanket, and he talked about how Mary would get her feet tangled up and poked through the holes, and that had the funeral goers about to lose it because it made her real.
Did you think there was something causing you to have those thoughts?
It seemed that way.
It seemed that way?
It seemed that way.
Religious people are more likely to have religious delusions than non-religious people, and some religious delusions may lead to a homicide.
In Texas, Andrea Yates faces arraignment today on capital murder charges. She is accused of drowning her 5 children back in June.
Andrea Yates' attorney George Parnham says his client will enter a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity.
In order for the insanity defense to be credible, one must be suffering from a severe mental disease, and as a result thereof, does not know what he or she is doing is wrong. It was important to emphasize her mental state at the time that she drowned the kids.
Texas law is notoriously strict on accepting the insanity defense, with 75% of pleas and...
Do you guys think she's gonna get it? The not guilty on reason of insanity? I think so. I think this is where it's going.
...in failure.
Not one of the experts who evaluated Mrs. Yates ever suggested that her illness was not genuine. She had had 4 psychiatric hospitalizations before she killed her children.
Be Jackrabbit.
You're going to be a jackrabbit? Wait.
April 29th, 1999. They're still looking like a pretty happy family.
I'm going to watch Noah be a jackrabbit.
But you can imagine a school bus, 2 adults and 4 children. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Let's let it do it.
Feeling the bus got kind of crowded. A lot of stress. Took the overdose.
Andrea was admitted to a psychiatric facility.
So cute.
She was diagnosed with postpartum depression.
Postpartum depression occurs in 1 in 10 women. Sometimes women are reluctant to share that they are hardly able to function.
Andrea was released from the hospital and went
so
back
sad. Like, it seems like such a tough situation, especially being a new mom. Like, you don't want people, like, they might feel ashamed that they're not being a good mom or something because this illness is getting in the way. But also, like, it prevents them from coming forward and talking about it.
to her parents' house. 2 weeks later, Rusty noticed that Andrea was missing.
What were you planning on doing?
Maybe cut my throat.
Okay.
Rusty came in and wrestled the knife away from her. She was saying, "No, no, let me do it, let me do it." And she was hospitalized again.
Why did you want to kill yourself?
I didn't want to hurt the kids.
You didn't want to hurt the kids. You thought if you killed yourself, you'd be saving the children.
Andrea met with Dr. Eileen Starbranch, and Starbranch said that Andrea was one of the sickest patients she'd ever seen.
Wow.
Mrs. Yates was diagnosed with postpartum psychosis rather than depression alone. Postpartum psychosis is much, much more rare where someone actually has delusions or hallucinations.
For hospitalizations, I feel like CPS is more strict with people on drugs. Yeah, that's true. You're saying, like, they should, even though this isn't really the case with Andrea Yates about being on drugs, she's just, like, mentally unwell. But yeah, maybe they should have taken them away. But then again, there was her husband too, so maybe that's why they didn't. I'm sure he would have let that happen.
And in postpartum psychosis, there is a 4% risk that the newborn infant will be killed.
Dr. Starbranch put her on Haldol, an antipsychotic. It was the one drug that worked on Andrea. She began improving and became more in touch with reality.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Rusty bought a new house in the Clear Lake area. It had 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It was a home. Once she got over the psychosis, Andrea quit taking her meds. Life went on.
Jason's around the house now. Come on.
Took a while, but she just snapped out of it. She was like herself again all of a sudden.
Hello. You say banana?
To me, she fully recovered from the first depression.
Oh my goodness.
Dr. Chartbranch had advised them, and specifically Rusty, not to have any more children.
Mrs. Yates would very likely again have a severe psychiatric reaction to having another child.
We had talked about not having any more children. You know, I talked to Andrea when she was feeling a little bit better. We had a good talk about that, and you know, both of us really went into our marriage.
This is so unfair. Oh, this is so unfair to those 4 beautiful boys. And for the baby, like, even, not saying that they shouldn't have brought her into the world, but just the fact that they did, and then when they weren't ready for that. So it's so fair to bring this baby into the world and then just right after take her out.
You know, saying we'd just have as many kids as came along, and that's what we wanted.
That was very irresponsible.
There's the precious little girl. She went to sleep. You think that her eyes are...
On November 30th, 2000, Mary was born, the first girl in the family, when Rusty was always expecting boys. So they were all a little bit shocked.
She's good girl, baby. Love you.
After Mary was born, Andrea's father had been in poor health, and he was admitted to the hospital.
Oh no. Another emotional stressor. This is not... I feel like this is going to be like a tornado.
30 in the morning, Andrea's father died.
I know that she loved her dad so very much. If you're a person with a fragile mentality and a history of postpartum depression, that would have been exceedingly difficult for her to cope.
After her father's death, the change in Andrea was immediate.
She got seriously depressed again and was rehospitalized.
Rusty found Devereaux Treatment Network that was closer to home. Dr. Saeed was on staff at Devereaux.
Dr. Saeed was aware of some psychotic symptoms in Mrs. Yates, and that's why he treated her with both an antipsychotic and antidepressant. Even though Mrs. Yates still had delusional ideas, she deliberately did not share her psychotic thinking with her treating psychiatrist. So when she complained of the side effects of the antipsychotic, Dr. Saeed discontinued her Haldol.
Oh no. They said earlier that Haldol was the only medicine that was like helping her delusions.
Here you have a mentally ill, psychotic human being being taken off of her antipsychotic. Andrea's last appointment with Dr. Saeed, Rusty asked the doctor to put her back on Haldol. This did not happen.
Oh,
and 2 days later, their 5 children were all dead.
God, if that is true, that is not a good look for that doctor. Oh, but then again, like they said, she wasn't being completely honest with him about her
Today,
symptoms.
opening statements are being given in the murder trial of Andrea Yates. She is the Houston mother who admits drowning her 5 children in the bathtub.
The horror of this crime is beyond comprehension.
2 days from now will be the anniversary of the death of her kids. That's such a sad thought, Julie. When they showed the baby and they said that it was in 2000, so that baby, the girl, would have been 24 now.
Under the water.
It was sensational.
People keep looking at the horror of what happened.
It was a middle-class woman, Professional husband, worked for NASA, very religious people.
Yates' religious beliefs have become a focus of testimony just this week.
The media just latched onto this thing and took off with it like a racehorse.
Because of the Andrea Yates trial.
Well, I mean, whoever that guy was, that preacher they were following who likes to dress up as Satan. I mean, yeah, I feel like that was one of the causes.
People learned about mental health. It became, you know, a topic of conversation. It was everywhere.
Yates is fighting for her life. She faces the death penalty.
We decided to seek the death penalty based on the magnitude of this offense.
She is presumed to be safe, to know right from wrong.
In John's little fist is her hair. He fought.
No.
He didn't want to die.
Protesters began showing up at the courthouse.
This position of going for the death penalty is just bloodthirsty, in my opinion.
But if Andrea Yates is found guilty by jury of her peers for the capital murder of her children, that she should receive the death penalty.
Our strategy during the trial was to rely on the evidence.
Wow, the oldest
to
Noah
focus
would
the
have been
jury
30.
on the decisions Andrea Yates made.
She killed the children in the hour from the time Dora Yates, her mother-in-law, was expected to arrive, and the time that Rusty Yates, her husband, left for work, between 9 and 10 o'clock.
It's absolutely no coincidence that Andrea Yates chose the hour when her husband would be away to carry out this act. She called 911. That is an indication that you believe a crime has been committed, and therefore she knew what she was doing was wrong.
Let me tell you what this case is about. This case is about the law on insanity. It's about why we say the law is that you have to know right from wrong, and why we don't say that the product of your mental illness is enough for you to be found insane.
Mrs. Yates knew that it was a sin and against the law to kill the children. That was undisputed. But she felt it was a lesser sin than that the children would lose their souls and never get into heaven.
To employ the insanity defense, you have to admit what you did. But then you interplay the defense of not knowing what she's doing is wrong.
Oh.
It's extremely difficult.
But yeah, she thinks that what she did was right. Like, she was doing the right thing. But maybe she knew it was, like, wrong legally, but religiously, that it would save her. Which is still delusional, so.
If this woman doesn't meet the test of insanity in this state, then nobody does. 0. We might as well wipe it from the books. She was so psychotic on June the 20th that she absolutely believed what she was doing was the right thing to do for those children.
I met Dr.
Yeah, she
Dietz
thought she
fairly early
was
in the
doing the right
case,
thing for them.
and he conducted somewhere between 10 and 20 hours of interviews with Andrea Yates. I learned that he had been a consultant to the Law and Order series. He knew of an episode that had aired with that scenario, that there was a feigned mental illness, a person that drowned a child.
Now, Rusty had already testified that he and Andrea would watch Law and Order.
It was a reasonable, if somewhat speculative, conclusion that if she watched the program habitually and an episode like this aired, that she would have seen it.
That was used by the state in their closing argument.
She begins to get very depressed and goes into Devereaux. These thoughts came to her. She watches Law and Order regularly. She sees this program. There is a way out. A way out.
We were not made aware of the existence of that episode until the testimony came forth in front of a jury. Dr. Dietz made the determination that this was a blueprint for Andrea to do what she did. When I found out about the Law and Order episode, I was absolutely stunned.
Oh my God, that's her lawyer talking. Even her lawyer was surprised about that. What?
The Andrea Yates case in Houston brought new and intense focus to the insanity defense.
The Yates case has drawn national attention not only because of the nature of the crime, but because it renewed long-standing questions.
Tim loves Law and Order. Apparently it's like the only show he watches. Or something. Wow.
About how the mentally ill are handled in the criminal justice system.
It took the 12 members of the jury only 3 hours and 40 minutes to reach their decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the court has been advised that the jury has reached a verdict. The court does not know what that verdict is.
I recall having a lump in my throat when the jury came back.
The state of Texas versus Andrea Pia Yates. We, the jury, find the defendant, Andrea Pia Yates, guilty of capital murder as charged in the indictment.
A jury in Houston sentenced Andrea Yates to life in prison today for drowning her 5 children in a bathtub. She could have received the death penalty.
We obviously were satisfied that they had reached the right conclusion.
In a perfect world, the Yates children would be alive and thriving in the midst of a loving family. But in this imperfect world, the best we could do was to see that justice was done for them as victims of a horrendous crime.
None of us wanted her to be found guilty. In fact, most of us were offended that she was even prosecuted.
As far as I'm concerned, the most positive outcome of this case is that Americans have witnessed firsthand, in a most extreme and painful example, the plight of the mentally ill.
The prosecution had an advantage. They had a gentleman by the name of Dr. Park Dietz, who's testified in a lot of cases. He wrote a 100-page report. It was very comprehensive, and the jury seemed to believe he was trustworthy.
A young reporter called me aside and questioned the credibility of Dr. Dietz. She watched every episode of Law and Order, and she was not aware of any such show ever existing.
I got a call from the producer of the Law and Order series ranting about how there was never such a program, and wondered what the implications of that would be.
What about Park Dietz's testimony? Did that kind of impeach the state's credibility?
What are you saying?
What? He straight up
It was a lie, that there was
They said, well, they said that the statement was not true, and that's a sense, in the absolute sense. A lie usually implies that it was something intentional. He made a mistake.
Dr. Dietz confused some episodes of Law and Order, and in the moment he was asked on cross-examination, mistakenly testified that such an episode had aired.
I took that to the First Court of Appeals, being able to show that such a show never existed. And the Court of Appeals reversed that case on the false testimony of Park Dietz under oath on the witness stand.
This is so crazy.
In 2002, Yates was convicted of capital murder at her first trial and sentenced to life in prison.
What is he thinking? Like, when you're on the stand like that, unless you're 100% sure, why would you just drop something like so carelessly like that? Like, don't lie. You know if there's an episode like that of Law and Order or not.
Trial could be a near duplicate of the first one when a jury rejected.
But I mean, it was the prosecution that brought him in, so he could be what's it called? Just like he was playing it in their favor.
Yates' insanity defense.
The trial could last about a month.
I was sick to my stomach. I mean, how many chances do you? She killed 5 of her children, and you're going to have a retrial?
But I said Dietz needs to get his Dietz straight. Seriously.
The gist of this trial was about the mental health of the defendant.
The public opinion kind of changed from how could anyone do this to these children, they should be executed immediately, to how can you prosecute someone who suffers from this mental illness?
Yates supporters say she should be treated.
I feel like there's no like right way to go with this when it comes to like public perception. On one hand, I feel like if them convicting her and saying she's guilty, or even if like she gets the death penalty, half the people are going to be so upset because, you know, this is a mental illness thing, and this just sets us back because no one is taking it seriously. And this sets a precedent of more people not coming forward. So on the other hand, though, if she's found If she wins the insanity plea, people are going to be really upset too. Like, she's a baby killer. She needs to be put away, or she needs to be killed.
For her illness, rather than punished for the crime.
People are going to be upset either way.
I was very pleased that Andrea had a second trial because she's not an evil person. She's a crazy person. Enough information had come out. So I think that it was another opportunity for justice to be served.
People may be much more sympathetic, but on the other hand, the prosecution is certainly not going to let anybody forget exactly what Ms. Yates did.
Noah got his head up a couple of times. She was able to push him down and control him and force him under that water until he lost control of his body. She had been contemplating the killing of these children for approximately 2 years.
Mr. Foreman, has the jury reached a verdict in each case? Yes, Your Honor. Will you please pass them to the bench, please? We, the jury, find the defendant Andrea Yates not guilty by reason of insanity.
I remember feeling relieved for her, being happy for her at the outcome.
My reaction was nothing short but ecstatic. I was just very emotional.
The jury said, "We understand that she knew what she did was against the law, but she believed she was doing what was right." And I found that quite gratifying because that had been the essence of what I had been trying to convey.
We're all, thrilled with the verdict. Last time the judge said, find the defendant guilty, and we
Wow, this is almost done. Why do we hate Russell so much? I know that he was sort of a religious nutcase, but other than that, and also he should not have left her home alone with the kids. He should not. And he should have been more responsible when it came to having more kids. Because having that last baby's when I guess she was like kind of tipped over. So yeah, never mind. Russell's a piece of shit. I get it.
She left out the word not, and this time we heard it, so we're happy.
He has since remarried and become a father again. Denies claims that his teachings influenced Andrea's decision to murder her children. She literally quoted one of his teachings.
She is confined, if not by the letter of the law, by the circumstances of the law.
That is so sad. She's not going to have anybody. No husband checking on her, no kids. I'm not saying she does or doesn't deserve that. It's just like, what a sad way to live the rest of your life.
I don't believe any judge
in an institution
who knows the
and no one
history
visits
of what
her.
happened will be inclined to release her.
I decided to start the Yates Children's Memorial Fund. Hopefully in some way make a difference in how women are treated in the mental health criminal justice system.
As a result of Mrs. Yates' case, Texas actually passed a law mandating that a screening test for postpartum depression be administered to all women who gave birth in Texas.
One reason I haven't been in touch with Andrea, because I've treasured memories of Andrea as herself. I remember Andrea as a vibrant, smart, diligent, just most integrity of anyone I've ever met. She was so beautiful, just sparkling with life. So that's my memory of her. It's so heartbreaking to me.
It's very heartbreaking to me too. Oh my God, that was a tough story. I'm still shaken up about it. Just sad all around, no winning here. Exactly. Winning. Yeah, I was going to say I had so much fun with you guys. I really didn't want to call this or do this, but I feel like I should go now. I'm sorry for the shorter stream today. There's just so much going on this week. And even today, so much stuff I have to do. Did you ever hear of the guy who got cleared of murder charges because of Curb Your Enthusiasm? What? No, actually, I didn't. That sounds so crazy. But yeah, also so much to do today. But on the bright side, we're going home in less than 2 weeks. It's so crazy. I'm so excited. A good note to go on. Let's see.
Who would think that Larry David, of all people, would save an innocent man from death row?
Larry David and his crew were shooting a scene here at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Also in the stands at the packed stadium, a big baseball fan and his little daughter. Little did he know how lucky he was to be there.
The premise of the 2003 episode was this. Larry David is trying to get to the stadium, but he's caught in traffic. Then he has the bright idea of picking up a prostitute so he can use the carpool lane.
Hey, Daddy, you want a date with Mama?
Actress Kim Whitley played the prostitute.
We walk up in the baseball game, and it's like a real game. I literally was like, how did you get all these people here?
56,000 people filled the stand.
I always wondered, so it's like an actual game and he's filming there.
One of them was this man, 24-year-old Juan Catalan. Incredibly, 4 weeks later, he found himself under arrest for the murder of a 16-year-old girl. He swore he didn't do it, and he had an airtight alibi. He was at the baseball game at the time of the slaying. So was he down here?
So he's down here. Juan is in this section.
Sure enough, when outtakes of Curb Your Enthusiasm were played before a judge, there was Juan Catalan with his 6-year-old daughter watching Larry David.
This is
All
awesome.
charges were dropped. Catalan was free thanks to Larry. The remarkable story is now the subject of a new Netflix documentary, Long Shot.
Are you nuts?
Cynical Larry is amazed that he gave an innocent man back his freedom, even if it was by accident.
This is a very special episode to Larry. Not only because it was funny, but also because we saved a man's life.
Yeah, that is so cool. That sounds like a great story for a documentary, but I feel like we already know it now. Is there any reason or motivation to watch the documentary? I feel like that was it. It doesn't require more than this, video summary. It was real bad. The detectives afterwards admitted they framed the guy. Oh my God. That's why he was able to sue in the first place and won. Oh my God. Yes. I'm so happy for him. And he won $300,000. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Love that. When a trailer shows you the whole movie. Yeah. Don't you hate it when that happens? But man, that is really interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Avery. Well, I guess I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys again for hanging out. And yeah, good night, everybody.